Good morning, students. In today's class, we are going to see the next part of the renewable energy resources, fuel cell and geothermal heat pump. In this session, we are going to discuss about fuel cell and geothermal heat pump. First, we will see fuel cell. What is meant by a fuel cell? Fuel cell is nothing but it is a device that converts your chemical energy from a fuel into electricity by means of chemical reaction of positively charged hydrogen ions with oxygen or any other oxidizing agent. So basically a fuel cell is the one which converts your chemical energy into electricity. How this conversion is taking place in the sense by means of the chemical reaction of positively charged hydrogen ions with the oxygen or any other oxidizing agent. So we'll call this fuel cell is different from battery. Fuel cell and batteries are not same. So we will call this fuel cell is different from battery. Why? Because in fuel cell they require a continuous source of fuel and oxygen or air to sustain the chemical reaction. Whereas in case of battery, the chemical present Whereas in case of battery, the chemical present in the battery react with each other to generate an electromotive force. So basically the fuel cell and battery is going to be different. In case of fuel cell, you need a continuous source of fuel and oxygen for making a chemical reaction. Whereas in case of battery, whatever chemical it is present in the battery that will react with respect to each other and it generates a electromagnetic force. And also the fuel cell can produce the electricity continuously as long as the input is supplied. And also it can be used for a primary and backup power for commercial, industrial and residential building, and also it could be used in remote or inaccessible areas. There is a difference between the fuel cell and the battery. When you are considering the fuel cell, an input has to be supplied continuously. When the input is supplied continuously, then it is possible for us to generate the power continuously. And also this type of fuel cell is used for commercial, industrial, residential building, and in case wherever remote and inaccessible area, there we will prefer this fuel cell. And also it is used for power fuel cell vehicle buildings including forklifts, automobiles, buses, boats, motorcycles and submarines. In all these places we will be using the fuel cell. This is the basic diagram representing the fuel cell. So when apart from this many other points are also there. We have a many type of fuel cell, but all consist of a anode and a cathode and one electrolyte. So this is the basic diagram representing the fuel cell. It consists of one anode, one cathode, and we have a electrolyte in between the anode and cathode. Therefore, it depends upon what type of electrolyte is present. Based on the type of electrolyte, the fuel cell is also classified. You can see here the anode and cathode contain the catalyst that causes the fuel to undergo oxidation reaction and it generate a positively charged hydrogen ions. A positively charged hydrogen ion will get emitted when the anode and cathode containing the catalyst is undergoing a oxidation reaction. Therefore, the hydrogen ion is drawn through the atom. This is your hydrogen ion. This hydrogen ion is drawn through the electrolyte after the chemical reaction, and at the same time the electron is also drawn from anode to cathode. So when the electron is moving, it means that it is a flow of current, and it is passed through, this electron is passed from anode to cathode through the external circuit, and therefore the direct electricity is produced at the cathode. So we have the cathode over here. At this particular cathode, your hydrogen ion, electrons and oxygen react to form water. So this hydrogen ion, electron and the hydrogen ions are drawn through the catalyte after the reaction. The anode cathode containing catalyst will undergo oxidation reaction, and the electron will starts to move from anode to cathode and it causes a direct current. At the cathode end, you have a hydrogen ion and electrons, and these two will react with oxygen to form a water. And the main difference among the fuel cell is the electrolyte. Fuel cell is classified by the type of electrolyte. So what type of electrolyte we are going to use? The types is going to differ. For example, if you are using a electrolyte of PEM fuel cell or PEMFC fuel cell, only the difference is going to be the startup time. Startup time, why the startup time is required in the sense for the proton exchange membrane cell. PEM is nothing but proton exchange membrane fuel cell, and 10 minutes for solid oxide fuel cell. Depending upon the electrolyte, we are going to have different types of fuel cell, but these types of fuel cell, they differ only with respect to the startup time. In case of PEM, that is proton exchange membrane fuel cell, the startup time will range from 1 second, whereas in case of solid oxide fuel cell, the startup time will be ranging to 10 minutes. An individual fuel cell will produce a small electric potential. What is the amount of electric potential it can produce? In essence, 0.7 volt. So that we can stack many number of fuel cells either in series or in parallel, depending upon the requirement of the voltage or requirement of the current. And based on the applications, requirement of the application, the number of fuel cells can either be connected in series or it can be connected in parallel. In addition with this, it can also be used to produce water, heat, and depending upon the fuel source, even a very small amount of nitrogen oxide can be produced, and other emissions can also happen. The energy efficiency of your fuel cell is going to be 40 to 60%, and you can increase the energy efficiency up to 85% if you are using it in the form of a cogeneration. Cogeneration in the sense combined heat process. CHP will also come into the picture. If you are going to use this fuel cell in cogeneration process, then you can attain the system efficiency greater than 85%. So if free electrons or any other substance can travel through the electrolyte, it will disrupt your chemical reaction. Therefore, whether they are combined at the anode or at the cathode, together hydrogen with the electron along with the oxygen will produce a water that will drain from the cell. So it is your unused gas out, and it is your air in, and it is your fuel in, and it is your excess fuel. So when your hydrogen is going to combine with the oxygen and electron, then it is going to give access to a water which it drains from the cell, and as long as the fuel is supplied with the hydrogen and oxygen, it will generate electricity. This is the basic operation of the fuel cell. Next is going to be your geothermal. Geothermal means earth. Geo means earth. Thermal means heat. Geo means earth. Thermal means heat. So the energy present under our feet is known as geothermal energy. That is, the energy developed under the earth is known as geothermal energy. Using this energy, we can develop electricity. Nearly 40 to 50% of the total energy is stored inside the earth's surface, because when the sun is exhibiting a power, most of the power, that is 86 petawatts of power, is absorbed by land and ocean. So if that is the case, most of the energy, around 40 to 50% of total energy, is stored inside the earth's surface. Using that, we can generate the electricity. The temperature in the ground is remain constant in all over the year. Therefore, the main source that utilized in to develop the electricity is geothermal heat pump. So with the use of this geothermal heat pump, we can generate the electricity from the earth, as we are obtaining 40 to 50% of the energy only inside the earth's surface. Heat pumps. What is meant by a heat pump? Heat pump is nothing but it is a device for transferring the heat to the surrounding system with the application of energy, and vice versa. You can either transfer the heat from system to the earth surrounding space, or from the surrounding space it could be absorbed to the system. That is done by means of your heat pump, and this heat pump is utilized to along in the geo process to generate the electricity. The refrigerant used in the heat pump is R22, which is nothing but monochromo dichloromethane. This is the refrigerant that is used in heat pump for the development of electricity. The main components used are compressor, condenser, expansion valve and evaporator. These are all going to be the main components that is used along with the heat pumps in under geopower process to develop electricity. Geothermal heat pump. The geothermal heat pump is also known as the ground source heat pump and is highly efficient renewable energy technology that is gaining wide acceptance both for residential and commercial building. This geothermal heat pump can be installed at an application level of residential building or commercial building. Why? Because it is going to be the highly efficient renewable energy technology, and with a geothermal heat pump, when it is installed in residential and commercial building, it is going to develop a power. And also the geothermal heat pump is used for space heating, cooling and as well as for water heating purpose. The benefit of utilizing the ground energy by using heat pumps is a concentrated way of naturally existing heat rather than by producing heat by means of combustion of fossil fuels. It is the natural way of utilizing the existing heat energy from the earth surface by utilizing the geothermal heat pump. Geothermal heat pump principal component. The basic principal component is going to be earth connection system. This earth connection system is nothing but your heat source or sink. A series of connected pipe is used commonly as a loop and is buried under the ground near the building which is to be conditioned, and this could be installed either vertically or horizontally, and in that we will be circulating the fluid. The fluid is nothing but your water or a mixture of water and antifreeze. So all these things has to be absorb heat from or relinquishes heat to the surrounding soil depending on whether the ambient air is colder or warmer than soil. Geothermal, and the other next one is going to be your heat pump system. First one is going to be your earth connection subsystem. Second one, it is going to be your heat subsystem. In heat subsystem, for heating, a geothermal heat pump removes the heat from the fluid in the earth connection which concentrate and transfer it to the building. For cooling purpose, the process is reversed. Here heat pump, what it will do in the sense, it will inside that refrigerant is there, that is R22. From that R22, heat from the fluid is removed in the earth connection and it is concentrated and it concentrates itself. Suppose if you wanted to use it for a cooling purpose, just the process will be reversed. The next component is going to be heat distribution system. In heat distribution system, we will be having a conventional ductile where the heat will get distributed through that, and heat or the cooled air will be distributed through this conventional ductwork from the geothermal heat pump throughout the building. Application of geothermal power. We have several applications. In that, the first one is going to be, it can be used for cooling purpose, agriculture, fishing, farming and food processing. Geothermal projects require significant upfront capital investment for exploration, drilling wells and equipment. Exploration risk and environmental impacts are also considered in geothermal power plant projects. So the use of renewable energy resources like solar, wind, biomass, fuel cell, geothermal and hydro are the basic renewable energy resources which can be integrated with the conventional source for the generation of the power. Depending upon the availability of the resources, even an individual renewable energy source can be modeled and it can be utilized for many applications. And also with the modeling technique, it is possible for us to generate the enough amount of power that is required for the customer. And we need to maintain the power optimization and power sustainability. The power optimization and power sustainability in case of renewable energies resources is going to be very, very important. Why? Because when we are supplying power to the load or when we are supplying power to the customer, the complete power has to be optimized. Sustainable energy should happen. Sustainable energy has to be there. so that you can find the so that you can make the system to be completely stabilized, and you can may use the system to use effectively with better system performance and efficiency. Thank you, students.